So today we have something pretty awesome that I don't think most folks have done when it comes to water and reclamation of gray water. So that's coming up. And also I want to give you just a kind of a heads up what's coming up in the next couple of weeks. So we have solar. We're getting a solar shed to put all our power in. We're going to be getting our gutters. We're doing some clearing and something else. You're not going to believe it. We're breaking ground on another house. This one is going to be an actual house. We're going to have some subcontractors on this one because we want to get it closed in before the winter. So have a lot going on here at His Nature, and I just want to welcome you along. Right now we're standing behind the building. Now we couldn't do this before because, well, this was all brush, trees and everything else. So at the end of last week, we actually had all of this cleared out, every part of it, every aspect completely cleared. We wanted to get it mulched down because this is where our shed is going for our power. This is where our water tanks are going. This is where we're going to store some of our equipment because it looks kind of unsightly. But we got this all cleared and ready. But I want to show you real quick what we got going on today. Basically, when you're doing and you're dealing with rainwater, as you know, we're doing complete off-grid. So we're doing rainwater capture, and the idea is we live in a very rainy area of the country. In our area, we get 44 inches of rain a year. Plenty, right? But sometimes during the year, we've had like a month and a half with no rain, which is great if you have, 10,000 gallons of storage, and we will have that eventually. But currently, we don't really have that. And also, there's something about capturing that precious rainwater that I don't want to use to like flush the toilet. I just feel like every gallon and a half, 1.6 gallons is being wasted. So my son came up with a great idea, I think on YouTube, which I thought was very cool. They take their water, and what they do is instead of draining it out into the sewer system or here, the septic field, they take that water, they use it for the toilets. So they use it from the washing machine to the toilet, which works great. But what we're going to do is this. So we have one of these tanks, right? Now we have a couple of these, obviously these totes, they're very popular. Everybody uses them. They're great. It's a great temporary fix for getting water on site when you don't have water. But what we decided was, well, why don't we set these up after we get our big tank for our real rainwater collection? These are only 275 gallons. Why don't we take this tank and capture all the water from like showers and bathtubs, call it gray water, and then we'll use this water to flush our toilets. Why not? It isn't really hard to do. You just need a small pump. So we're going to set this up. We're going to put these in position, probably have about 3 of them, and we're going to set them up to capture that drain water. There's something else we could use this water for, and I thought about it. Depends on the soap we use, okay? We can also use this water to maybe water our gardens. You got to watch that because soap can be a real problem when it comes to, you got to watch different detergents, bleaches and stuff like that. So we may not be able to use all that, but it's an idea. And I thought this would be great. So what we're going to do today is we're going to set up our tanks. Now I did bring some drinking water in for temporary use here, but we're going to use it. We're going to put it in this tank here, and we're going to put a second tank and probably a third tank here. And we're going to get them kind of set up our water system so we can have some drinking water, some regular water here. But eventually we're going to set our drains to fill these tanks up. It works really well here because this building and these drains are quite a bit higher than these tanks. So we don't have to worry about pumping the drain water, the water out of the drains into the tanks. We could just use gravity-fed methods, which works excellent. Now, to do this, of course, we need a secondary pump to come out of this to use to flush the toilets. We already have that. So anyway, it is great. We can try that. Anyway, we're going to get going. Okay, so now what we're doing is I have a tank in the back of our van here that I go and pick up about 300 gallons of tap water. And then I bring it back here, and just by this little makeshift system here where the van is higher than the actual tanks, I am filling up the first of 2 tanks with this water. Now the idea is that I'll come back again and fill the second one up, so just so we have some sort of water to start with and get this all hooked up inside with the pump and everything. It's going to take a while. This is just gravity fed. I have all day. It really isn't a real big rush. I could pump it out, but there's no need at this point. So we're just going to let that fill up. Okay, so we got our totes in place, and we put them here. I bought these covers for these. These were great. They're like 20 bucks, I think, on Amazon. And what they do is they keep the sun out. Very important when you're looking at particularly drinking water that you keep the sun out because you don't want any algae growth. But anyway, I want to show you what we did. We piped these in together. There's only 2 of them, so this is about 550 gallons or so of water. We have another one we could add if we really need to. Anyway, we ran our line here. Again, this is just makeshift, kind of temporary. We ran this line, and then we ran our main water line going into the building right here. So we don't have to run this again. We just run that there, and when we alter this and put our pump out and get our pump and our tanks in, we'll just cut this section out and reconfigure it all. So that's kind of what we did here. But also, take a look over here. We just got a delivery. This is for another episode. This is our power shed. We got a shed here delivered. We bought that used and got that brought in here. That's where all our power wall is going, our pumps and for our water, our filter system and stuff like that is going in that building. But let's take a look inside. Okay, so we're in here in our utility room. So we have a sink here that just gets us to wash our hands, wash our utensils while we're here staying. And our main pump here is basically it's an above ground, meaning it's not a pump that goes in the well. It's one of these smaller pumps that sit on top of the well. It's kind of a smaller well pump. Anyway, we put this in, we have our water coming in here, and then it goes out into our water heater here, which heats the water, and this runs out into our plumbed system. So we have the hot water plumbed out and actually to our shower that runs out that I did install. So we have a shower that functions, we have a sink that functions, the shower is outside. And so this is kind of just a makeshift thing. Of course, we need a regular water heater in here, and we can't just be using this because we're totally all going to be off grid, and it needs to be electric, and it has to be fairly economical. We don't want propane because we're going to try to go completely off grid. 0 bills, 0 reliance. So that's kind of what we're doing. And I want to thank you for joining us for this. We're just ticking along.